What's going on, everybody? Mike Strauss, Mike MMA. Just wanted to do a quick little Bellator 221 and UFC 237 picks piece for you. Sorry about it, last minute. It's been a crazy week with Bellator here in Chicago. So let's get to it, man. We don't have much time to waste, right? The fights are just in a matter of hours. So we'll start at the top. We'll just do the main cards. Michael Chandler, Patricio Pitbull. These two don't like each other, man. As you guys know, if you've been following. Chandler's a lot bigger than Patricio physically, but I don't think that's going to really matter too much, man. I think this fight is going to stand up. I think this fight is going to play out standing up, rather. Chandler's got great. He's got great wrestling, obviously, as everybody knows. He doesn't check leg kicks. I think that's going to be a big factor in this fight, as we saw in the Primus fight. He doesn't like to check leg kicks for whatever reason, so I think that could play a factor, as well as when Chandler gets emotionally invested in these fights, like we saw him with Will Brooks and Eddie Alvarez. He tends to throw caution to the wind, and that may not bode well for him here. I'm going to still pick Chandler because I think he's that good, but it's going to be a crazy fight, right? How about Lima and Michael Venom Page? I don't feel like this is getting enough attention. The last couple of days, rather, it has been. But what can you say, man? Another high-level fight. I think we saw a lot in Page's last fight against Daly. It didn't play out like a lot of people thought it would. This is by far the biggest test of Page's career. I'm going to go Douglas Lima because I think he is world-class. AJ McKee, Pat Kearns, super stoked for that fight. AJ McKee might be the best prospect, not just in Bellator, but he may be the best featherweight prospect in all of mixed martial arts, right? 13-0, trains at the body shop with all those killers. Now Pico is no longer there, which to me is kind of a good thing, right? Because that could possibly open up a match between AJ and Pico, way later on down the line. But getting back to this is a big fight for Curran coming back in Chicago. He's going to have a ton of people here. I don't think that's going to help him. I think AJ will get the job done. Then you have maybe the most intriguing matchup, right, in all of this weekend. Jake Hager, Jack Swagger going against this TJ Jones kid. The kid's likable, man. Jimmy Smith read a piece of one of the interview I did with him. Thanks, Jimmy Smith. Good dude. But this kid's so likable, right? He's a beef plant worker. He has 6 kids. He's just a likable fucking guy. I had to ask him. I was like, I had to tell him, rather, you look like a guy I went to high school with, like fucking uncanny. But, that guy's name is Mike, too, and he's TJ, so it's not the same guy. But anyway, if I'm trying to be impartial here, at wearing my journalism cap, or my journalist cap, if you will, I'm going to say Hager, but god damn if I'm not pulling for TJ to win, right? And then kicking off the main card on DAZN is Taiwan Eric Claxton, formerly Speedy Claxton, going against James Bennett. Taiwan Claxton is one of the interesting cats because he's a fucking genius, right? He taught himself how to code, he makes apps, he does all that. He's a smart dude. He's only 26 years old. He's another undefeated dude in the featherweight division at 4-0. But he's one of the rare guys that doesn't need to be in the sport 110% to really excel. It seems like he's maybe, 50% in and 50%, doing his coding and stuff, but it hasn't slowed him down, man. He looks fantastic. I think he's going to get the job done against James Bennett. Let's quickly just go over the 237 main card picks. Rose Namajunas defending her title against Jessica Andrade. Rose Namajunas is doing something that only Ronda Rousey has done for the female champion. That's go down to Brazil and defend a title. Strangely enough, Rousey did it against Bethe Correia, who is fighting on this card, who missed weight by a ridiculous amount. But I'm going to go Rose here. I just think she's on the verge of superstardom, and I think a win over Andrade, who is the true number 1 contender, could really kind of get her into that next echelon of, really getting us talking about her as one of the best women champions of all time. Not quite there yet, but I think she's on the verge. I'll take her. Then you have Jared Cannonier, Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's won 1 fight in his last. I think he has lost 6 of 7, and the only one he's won in there was that Derek Brunson fight, which was very controversial. That being said, he's 44 years old, I believe. His better days are behind him. I'm going to say Cannonier wins. Hopefully it's an entertaining fight, because if not, all the keyboard warriors are going to come out. Anderson needs to retire. He's a grown fucking man. Let him do what he wants to do. Jose Aldo is fighting Alexander Volkov. Is fighting Alexander Volkanovski, rather. Look at me. But, this Volkanovski dude, man, he's been on my radar for a while. He is a very talented guy. He's 19-1. But Jose Aldo, I think he's still that good. What's funny about this fight is they're only 2 years apart, right? Everybody, like, you think of Jose like, Jesus, but he's only 32. Volkanovski, he's 30. So the age discrepancy isn't really what you necessarily would think from this. Aldo is only, his first fight he lost was to some guy no one's ever heard of way back when in Brazil. Other than that, he's only lost to Max twice and Conor. That's it. So I'm going to go Jose here. I still think he is that good. Then you have Thiago Alves going against Loreno Strapoli. It's his second fight in the UFC, 8-1, going against Thiago, who has been in the UFC since 2005. He's been there for almost 15 years. Think about that. Thiago's had just a fucking tremendous career. I just wrote a piece yesterday. He's nowhere near thinking about retirement. He's having way too much fun. I think he'll get it done. I definitely think he'll get it done. You know what's a fun little fact here is Thiago has never fought in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now, he's fought in Brazil. You know, the fight that he just had against Max Griffin, where he got that favorable decision, that was in Brazil. But he's never fought in Rio. Kind of interesting. I'll take Alves to win. And then you have, kicking off the main card here, is Irina Aldana against Beth Correia, who I mentioned earlier. This wasn't supposed to be the fight. The Trinaldo fight got canceled, so in comes this one. Beth Correia missed weight by 5 or 6 pounds, something ridiculous. This is, for all intents and purposes, she signed her release, her walking papers with that. I do believe this is going to be the last fight in the UFC for her, regardless of the outcome. And I'll go Aldana, just for good measure. That's all I got. Enjoy the fights, guys.